Welcome to the 5 for 2 podcast with me, your host Adele, where we say no to careers where you're trading 5 days of misery for 2 days of fun. A place we discuss all things career, confidence, and money moves. I want to motivate, teach, and empower ambitious women to achieve more, earn more, feel more confident, and enjoy the work they do. It's all about believing you can have everything you want in your career and then going and getting it. So if you're ready, let's get into it.
Hi, welcome to another episode. This week, I'm talking about red flags in companies and in the hiring process, to be more specific. And this comes about because I get this question so often, especially now with the job market being as chaotic as it has been for the last couple of years. People always say to me, how can I change industry or get a new job in the same industry but not end up in another toxic role or another crappy position like I am now? And the first thing I want to say is sometimes, no matter how much you do, you may still end up in a crappy situation. And sometimes you just got to accept that. Either you take a chance or you don't. However, a lot of the times, we are so excited to get the job. We are so happy that it looks good on paper. We ignore every red flag along the way. It's no different from relationships. Let's be real. I can only say it from a female perspective because I'm not a man. But from a female perspective, we will meet a guy who we really like. And rather than see him for exactly who he is, we will say, oh, but he's got the potential to be better. He will be waving a red flag in our face. And we will still say, oh, but maybe this, and we will make excuses. We do the same in our career. We make excuses when actually the writing was on the wall and sometimes the red flags were very obvious. So today on this episode, let's get into what those red flags might be, how you can look out for them, and what options you have when you see them. And spoiler, the option is always to do whatever the hell you want. But if you see the red flags and then decide to complain afterwards, it's your fault. And I said what I said. And you guys know it's always coming from a place of tough love. But if you see every red flag and you jump in, it's like seeing a fire and jumping in, then whatever the outcome is, you chose it. But anyway, let's get into it. So, how do we look for red flags? The first thing I'm going to say is poor hiring process. That's the first thing. A lot of these companies have crappy hiring processes. Like, they're super slow, they ghost you. Like, one of my clients was like to me, she went for an interview, she got a second interview, then they ghosted her for like a few weeks, and she was emailing them, she didn't hear anything back, but they had told her, we're going to book you for a third. She didn't hear anything back. Then after about 3 or 4 weeks, they then messaged her and was like, oh yeah, we want to book you in for a third interview. And then we'll be making an offer. So she went in for the third interview. They then said, oh, we're going to let you know by next week. Next week turned into 2 weeks, turned into 3 weeks. And she messaged them, she emailed them. They finally got back to her and she got the offer. However, that for me was already a red flag. Because in the background, you couldn't get your shit together. Whatever you had going on, you couldn't get your shit together. So you were super slow at responding. A candidate should never have to chase you. If you as the candidate have to chase the company, that lets you know what it's going to be like when you get the job. You're going to have to chase for resources. You're going to have to chase for training. You're going to have to chase for salary increases. You're going to have to chase for them to even do your one-to-one because they can't get it together. Something was going on in that hiring process while they were slow to respond. And in essence, they ghosted you for a short period of time. Now, when you think about that hiring process, does that sound like a company you want to work for? Now, listen, for some people, especially if you just need a job, if you just need a job is a job. However, for the majority of you that I'm speaking to, we already have jobs. You have a job. You have a 9 to 5. You have a decent job. You make decent money. You listen to this podcast because you're no longer happy with just making decent money. You're no longer happy with just having a job that you hate, but at least it pays your bills. You want more from your job. That's why you're listening. So when we want more from our job and then we jump into a job that was blatantly ghosting us during the hiring, we haven't even started yet. You guys know the story if you've been listening for a while of what happened to me. For any of my new listeners, I once went for this amazing human resources manager job. Like, I was going to be the senior HR manager. It was amazing. It included travel, it included a really good benefits package, allowance. It was just an amazing job on paper. Went for the interview. I loved it. Loved the offices, loved the woman I met. She said she loved me. She gave feedback to the recruiter because I'd gone through an agency, told them I was amazing. They want to see me again. They think I'm great. Then crickets, literal crickets. The recruiter kept updating me because I had a really good recruiter. She was like, really sorry, still haven't heard anything. Really sorry, still haven't heard anything. It was about 4 to 6 weeks. I don't even know how long it was because guess what? I continued to interview and continue to go for first, second, third stage interviews and got offers like elsewhere. So I continued with my life because I'm not chasing. I remember the recruiter saying to me, oh, you should drop them an email. And I was like, oh, okay, I will. I did not. Because just like in life, I don't chase anything. Anything that's for me is definitely for me. I will refuse to chase you. If I didn't make enough of an impression on you that you want to follow up with me, then I just chalk it up to the game. Like, oh, well, that's it. That wasn't for me. Let me move on. Because clearly my impression wasn't strong enough. Who I wasn't, it didn't hit enough. Otherwise, you would be interested in getting to know me further. You would be booking me in for another interview. Sometimes you just have to accept they're not that into you. Whether it's your career or your relationship, get over it. Everyone isn't for everyone. And I just wasn't for this job. That's how I looked at it. However, 6 weeks went past, 4 or 6 weeks. I don't remember. It felt like forever. And I get a random call from the recruiter. She was like, oh my gosh, they've been in touch. They want to see you again. And they actually just want to make an offer because they loved you, but they want you to come in and meet the director or whatever. And then they're going to this is a huge company, by the way. They're going to probably just make an offer on the spot. I was like, and at this point I had other offers on the table from other companies that I'd been interviewing with. And I was like, yeah, no. And the recruiter was like, but why? This is the salary you want. And it was the highest salary, the highest numbers I had ever seen at that point in my career. The best benefits package I'd ever seen at that point in my career. The highest title I would have ever held at that point in my career. My reason for saying absolutely not, firstly, was because I've made mistakes before accepting jobs when the hiring process was clearly idiotic. But 2 things. Either they are that rubbish and that slow at getting back, like 6 weeks. No, nothing, no responses. Not even like you emailed back, you responded, you apologized, nothing. So either you are literally that bad and you don't have any respect for people's time. Like that's what that says to me. Like your processes are so bad that you think you're above at least communicating with people. That's the first option. Second option, which is the option I believe, you found someone, you hired someone, they started and it didn't work out. Or you found someone, you hired someone, during your waiting for them to give their notice and all that stuff, they decided they wasn't going to start with you. So now I'm your second option. Either way, it's a no from me. You ghosted me, so my name is Casper, you can no longer see me. Like, absolutely not. So everyone has their own limits. For me, showing me lack of respect during the hiring process is a hell no. So if you're taking jobs where they have shown you disrespect during the hiring process, do not expect that they will not show you that same disrespect when you take the job. Ghosting and no or super slow responses without apologies. Because things can happen in companies, I get it. People leave, things move, but you apologize. But people that don't have that, for me, you should keep it moving. However, like I always say, your choice is your choice. But don't expect that the disrespect will change when you take the job. I respect people that apologize, held their hands up, say, you know what, Adele, we know it's been 3 weeks. We do apologize. This is what happened. And then they give me the opportunity to decide if I want to continue the interview process, if I want to continue to go for this job. And sometimes I might because the way they've approached me, and other times it will be an absolute hell no. I don't care how good everything sounds on paper. You've already shown me the reality. And that's what's really important. A lot of you are chasing what looks good on paper. The money looks good, the title looks good, everything looks good. But the reality doesn't look good. And you're going to be living the reality. You're not going to be living what's on paper. Second thing, red flag, not disclosing the salary they are offering or being really pushy to find out yours. So you don't want to tell me what you're offering, but I must tell you what I'm currently on. Make it make sense. Again, it's all respect. I'm going to need you to show me the same respect that you expect me to show you. That's what I need. Why are you not disclosing the salary? Is it because it's crap? Or on the flip side, is it because the people you already have doing that role are earning 20, 30K less and you're hiring me from outside and giving me a much bigger salary and you don't want your internal candidates to find out, so you won't disclose the salary just in case? And I'm not going to find out the salary till at the very end. Listen, I don't like wasting my time and I don't want you to waste your time. If you can't afford me, there's no point in me starting this interview process. If your package and your salary doesn't make sense for me and my life and my next steps in life, why would I do it? Why would I continue the interview process? Now, unless I'm interviewing just for practice, now, because listen, you guys already know, if you're one of my clients or you've been listening for a while, what I always say is if you've been out of the job market for a really long time, book interviews just to get practice so you can see what type of questions they ask. Book interviews in the industry that you are trying to get into just to see what questions they ask. How are my nerves when I'm in the interview? Have I got good, strong answers? Sometimes you need practice interviews to tick them off the list so that when you go for the proper thing, that it's exactly what you need. Like you can actually deliver in that interview. Especially like if you've been out the job market for like 10 years, some of my clients been out the job market for 50, they've been in the same job 15 years. You don't know what's going on. I don't care how good you interviewed 15 years ago. The interviews aren't the same anymore. The process ain't the same. Back in the day, interviews were like 1 or 2 interviews. Now they're like 4, 3 or 4. 3 is the norm. 4 or 5, I hear some of my clients getting absolutely outrageous. I've heard of someone having an 8 interview process. Listen, that couldn't be me. I'm going to be honest with you because, again, red flag. It took you 8 interviews. 8. You're either indecisive or you're very bad at choosing talent. Either way, it's a no from me. Thank you, next. Because 8, we're getting outrageous at this point. You need to see me 8 times to figure out if I should be there. You're not good at choosing, which means when I get the job, you're going to be really bad at making decisions for our company, and our company's probably not going to do well, or things are going to be really bad or toxic or awful because you're already showing me it took you 8 opportunities to meet me. No, absolutely not. You're not a good judge of character. You're not good at interviewing if you need to see me 8 times. Anyway, like I said, let's go back to the salary thing. Not disclosing the salary is a waste of everyone's time. It's a red flag. It might only be a mini red flag because all these red flags aren't equal. Some are bigger than others. It might be a mini red flag, but it's still a red flag to me. So why are we not disclosing the salary? And I always will say to a company, salary isn't the most important thing. However, obviously I expect a certain salary for my talent and for the responsibilities of the role and for the expectations and all of that. So I just would like to know, have an idea of what the salary band it at least is, because I wouldn't want you to waste your time and I wouldn't want to waste my time. It's all in how you deliver it. I'm not going to be rude about it, but I'm going to ask. Some people have too much attitude and too much vim when they're saying, oh, why haven't you disclosed salary? Like, there doesn't need to be an attitude. It can be polite. It can be friendly. I'm the most smiley, happy person when I'm dealing with people. Why? Because you catch more, what's the saying? You catch more flies with honey. Right. So I'm the honey. I'm sweet and I'm nice because I know how to play the game just like they're playing the game with you. Because when they're telling you, oh, we have a great team, they know they don't. When they're telling you, oh, it's a great environment to work in, they know they don't. They play you, it's time for you to play them. So I'm the sweetest and the nicest, but I'm still going to tell them exactly what I need to tell them. Red flag number 3, you not asking questions at the end of the interview. Yes, you're the red flag. Because why are you not asking questions based on the things that are important to you? Not the rubbish ones that you find on Google or YouTube. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about actual real questions that matter to you. Because what matters to you would not be the same as what matters to me. What matters to me is a lot of autonomy. Like, how am I going to be managed? That's really important. How do you manage your team? How do you enjoy being managed? If I was new in the first 3 months, how would you manage me versus how you're going to manage me 6 months from now? These are questions I'm going to ask because autonomy is really important to me. I like people to teach me what I need to do and then get out of the way. I do not like people that keep coming back and checking in. I don't need it. I'll let you know when I need you. And I'm not saying you shouldn't check in at all, but I don't need you checking in like every other day or weekly. It's not for me. But some people will say, oh, I don't like to be micromanaged. But when they're not micromanaged, they don't get any work done. So they actually need to be micromanaged. So I'm just saying everyone's different. Some people care about training. Like, how am I going to be trained? If I'm a remote worker, for instance, how do you ensure remote workers get training and get opportunities to learn from senior staff? That might be a really important question for you. Because in your current job, you know they didn't train you or they didn't teach you properly. And that's why you were failing at your targets. You need to be asking the questions that are relevant to you and the job you're trying to look for and what you want for your future position and how that future position feeds into your long-term goals. Whenever I do anything, I'm thinking about, okay, how is this job going to help me with getting to my long-term goal? My big, outlandish, outrageous, audacious goal. How are we getting there? So ask helpful interview questions that will help you identify if this is the type of environment that you should or you want to be in. Fourth red flag is disorganized onboarding process. Now, we've already talked about the hiring process, so that's before you get the job. But now they've offered you the job and it's super disorganized. No one sent me my contract. No one, I'm chasing you to get stuff done. You haven't asked for my bank details, my national insurance. What is happening? What is actually happening? You've said I've got the job. You've made me the offer, but now we're going back and forth. It's been a month. You're taking ages to get my references. You haven't even asked me for reference details. I'm saying to you, oh, do you want my reference details? Guys, onboarding. If the onboarding process is disorganized, the company will be disorganized. Simple as that. If they can't onboard you efficiently, if their HR department cannot onboard you efficiently, what does that tell you already about the company? Again, this might be a small red flag because maybe it's just a poor HR department and the rest of the company is fine. However, it's something you need to pay attention to because if the onboarding process is disorganized, then you start the job and it's disorganized. Know that that's how they mean to go on. Simple as that. It could be a red flag that's no big deal and it was just that one department, or it could be a long-term red flag. You have to decide what you're willing to put up with. You also have to decide, I've been in situations where I've started a job and the whole job was a walking red flag. I got my backside out of there. Why? Because previous to that, I had stayed in a job way too long, even though it was one of the most toxic places I've ever been. But I stayed because the money was great. I was a single mum and I was making money. My daughter was enjoying her life. I was enjoying my life. I was young. I don't care. I will admit it every time. That's all I cared about, money. My mental health wasn't really something I was thinking about. I wasn't thinking about the fact that I was constantly burnt out. I was constantly I didn't care. I had money. I had a lot of money in my pocket. That was what was important to me in my 20s. So seeing the red flags and then starting is a choice. Or giving them the benefit of the doubt is a choice. If then when you start, the red flag was real and actually, yes, there is a disorganized as their onboarding process was, you then get to make the decision on whether you stay or whether you continue to look for another job and you remove yourself. And a lot of people, that's the scary part. A lot of you take a job and you're like, well, I've already taken it now. I can't start looking again. Why? I stayed at a job for 11 weeks and they was lucky they had me 11. I told them at 7 weeks I was leaving. Then they convinced me, please, stay. I already knew, I'd already started looking. I was going to leave. I just stayed until the 11-week mark and then left. Cool, whatever. I'm not staying at this job. I had no shame because I made my bed, but I don't have to lie in it. I can unmake it because the truth is, I come first in my career. I come first in my life. I have to be living a life and building a life that I actually want to enjoy. I don't want to be unhappy. So if I take a job and it happens to be the wrong move, I'll correct it. If you make a mistake, you get to correct it. But a lot of you are like, I can't afford to make the mistake. Why? You're still getting paid that whole time. I was still getting paid. And then when I took another job and got that offer, I carried on getting paid at the new job. Why do we have to be like, oh my gosh, I took the job now, I have to stay here for 2 years. Why? Who said? Who said? Why are you making up these fake rules in your head? Oh, it looks bad on my CV. Who said? It looks bad because you don't know how to explain it. It looks bad because instead of you being able to say, oh, I did take this job, but unfortunately the responsibilities, the role wasn't quite what I was looking for. Or if you was only there 2 weeks, why is it even on your CV? You are so scared to have a good explanation. Your explanation is poor, not the fact that you changed jobs. Now, if all your jobs are 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's a different conversation. But I'm saying you got one job on your CV that's short and you got 2 jobs on your CV that are short and you've got 4 other jobs that are long. So why are you focused on the negative when you could be focused on the positive? I'll just be saying to them, listen, there was 2 occasions where, I was staying at the company a really short time. But as you can see from my CV, 90% of the time, I stay in jobs for a really long time. Because as long as they line up with what I need and I'm able to deliver what the company needs, then I'm going to stay. but it's all in how you deliver it. And if you make it a big deal, it is a big deal. Even if a company makes it a big deal that I stayed at a job for 11 weeks, I'm like, oh no, I don't make it a big deal. I change my tone. I make it like not a big deal at all. Then suddenly, guess what? They make it not a big deal. It's all in your delivery. So disorganized onboarding process, totally up to you, but it could be a red flag. And number 5, the last red flag that I'm going to talk about is not offering you a contract in advance and no offer letter or no email confirmation. Why are you giving your notice when you have no confirmation of offer, no email confirmation? You have nothing written down. You literally, someone said to you, you're offered the job and now you're giving your notice. Do not learn that lesson the hard way. An offer is not real if it's not written down. I've had people say to me, yeah, they offered me like 70K. Then I quit my job and then when I got the contract, it said 50K. And then the benefits package added up. So they were saying, because it's 70K because the benefits package. Listen, companies are smart. Companies are sly. And companies are no different from the bullies in the playground. They know victims. The silly people who, have you given your notice? Yes. They're happy now. Because you gave your notice without having any kind of real offer on paper. Companies aren't silly. Where is my contract? See, for someone like me, I'm going to need to see the contract in advance. And I know a lot of companies don't give the contract that early. Like, they want to get your references and stuff like that. And that's fine. I'm happy for you to do that. But while you're doing that, I'm not giving my notice. And I've had companies say to me, but we need to give your notice so that you can start within this period of time. I can't because I need to see the contract. Oh, but Adele, it's just a standard contract. Yeah, I know, but I need to make sure there are no clauses in there that conflict with any area of my life or anything else I've got going on or with my long-term goals. I need to make sure, because the truth is, what if your contract has like a non-compete, which is fine. Most contracts I've had have a non-compete. But what if the non-compete's like 5 years? What if it's even 3 years? Listen, I want a 1 year, maybe 18-month non-compete after I leave you, because 3 or 4 years, that's a bit much. That's a bit excessive. What's your non-compete clause? What other clauses have you got in there that are going to affect my day-to-day work? Listen, when I take a job, again, I'm taking a job based on how is this helping me get to my biggest goals? If the contract is going to hinder me from getting to my biggest goals, why am I taking this job? So I'm going to need the contract before I give my notice anyway. Because the reason for me leaving my current job to get another job is this job is getting me closer to my goals. I don't take jobs just to take jobs. They are overall going to help me with my biggest goals. You guys know one of my biggest goals was to be able to work part-time but still earn full-time money. So when I was making moves in my career, I always had that in mind. Because if it's not getting me closer to that, it's getting me further away. And if it's getting me further away, why would I do it? Why would I put myself through that? So you should see a contract in advance. And if you don't see a contract, you should at least see an offer letter. Maybe the contract doesn't matter to you as much. I've had a contract before. I agreed hours with a company before. Then when they sent me the contract, instead of working 8 hours a day, they made it 10 hours a day for the same money. Are you mad? Are you mad? I'm not signing it. I'm not signing it. Thank God I haven't given my notice yet. Not working 10 hours for the same salary we agreed on an 8-hour day. So I went back and said, unfortunately, I can't take the offer. Oh my gosh, but why? Because you sneakily tried to put in 10 hours a day. Oh no, but you'll usually work 8, but that's just in case we need you to work 10. Absolutely not. The contract says 10, which means you're going to try and make me work 10. The contract needs to say 8. Simple as that. That's what we agreed. And if you want me to do extra, we'll have a conversation about it. But it will be paid. Or I'll get time back in lieu, because I don't mind sometimes not getting paid. If you need me to do overtime 2 hours, yeah, I don't mind. Guess what? I'm going to then take that all back in annual leave and get paid for that day. I want time back in lieu. So I want to get paid for those hours, but have a day off because they've all added up. So let's talk about it. Companies can be sneaky, not all the time. There are so many great companies. I've had the privilege of working for many. I enjoy my current part-time job, love it. Previous job, loved it. Like, I've worked for some amazing people and some amazing companies. And yes, all companies have their flaws. Of course, there's things in every job I've worked in where I'm like, oh my gosh, you could do this so much better. But not offering me a contract in advance, big red flag. And as a bare minimum, not sending me an offer letter, something in writing to give me the offer. Because guess what? If they then withdraw that offer and I've given my notice, I'm taking everyone to tribunal. Loss of earnings. Because you made me a formal offer. Based on that formal offer, I gave my notice. Now I don't have a job. My current job won't keep me. They won't take me back. I don't have a job. And now I have to go back to the beginning and start looking for another job. That's loss of earnings. Someone needs to pay me something. Someone needs to pay me some sort of compensation. But the only way I can do that is if I've got proof there was an offer. Listen, if an offer is verbal, how does anyone know? It's like when they say, if you don't take pictures, did it really happen? If you ain't got nothing on paper, did it really happen? It's your word against theirs. So when they're saying, no, we didn't make an offer, we said we were thinking about an offer, how are you proving that they actually made an offer? You can't. There's no paper trail. You don't even have an email confirmation. How are you proving that they made the offer? The offer letter is the most important when you're thinking about giving notice. Do you have the offer in writing? And is the offer what you agreed after the interview? Like when we spoke, I agreed 60,000 salary. Dave sent me an offer letter with 55,000. Cool. I told them I wanted 60,000. They sent me 55. I'm going to call them up and be like, listen, I still want the job. I'm really interested in the role. However, I remember mentioning to you at interview, I'm looking for 60,000, but I've seen on the offer that you're only able to give me 50,000. Is there any room or scope for negotiation? Because at that point, we need to see what we need to see. So the offer letter is important. And for me, again, your career is about you. For me, I want to see the contract because there's things in contracts. I think maybe it's because I've been in HR, because I've been in recruitment, whatever it is. There's things in contracts that sometimes don't work for me, or things in contracts that I have questions about, or things in contracts that make me think like, oh, okay, I didn't like that. So I'm going to go back in and negotiate more because I'm going to say, oh, I saw X in the contract. Based on that, I wanted to renegotiate another part of the contract because if I've got to stick to this part, then I'm going to need you to change this part. And then what sometimes happens is I might say like, oh, the non-compete clause is way too long. So if I've got to have a non-compete that long, I'm going to need a higher salary. Or I'm going to need a shorter notice period because sometimes when you're in management or senior management, your notice period is like 8 weeks or 12 weeks. I'm going to say to them, I'm not willing to stick to the normal company standard 12-week notice. You're going to have to make it 8 weeks, especially because you've got this massive non-compete clause. Like sometimes it's not that I'm not going to sign the contract. It's that if one part doesn't work for me, we're going to have to negotiate on another part, or we're going to have to negotiate on the part that doesn't work for me. Something might need to give. That's really important for me. Pension. I don't like companies that force you to do a pension. Like some companies, if you're eligible, pensions are mandatory. They make you do pensions. Like my mum used to work for the council when it was mandatory. She couldn't opt out. That doesn't work for me. Because what if I've got a private pension? You don't know what I've got going on with my money. That doesn't work for me. Like there are just things that I need to see in a contract. Again, that is a me thing. That doesn't need to be a you thing. But I'm saying for me, not offering me a contract in advance when I ask for it, or saying, oh, we're gonna give it to you on your first day. That's a red flag. If you say to me, we usually give it on the first day, but because you've asked for it, I'll send it to you. Amazing. Like, I ain't got a problem. It's not a red flag for me because you still sent it when I requested it. But if you keep being really pushy and you're like, no, you don't need a contract, I'm all right. I'm okay. I'm going to probably drag out the signing of that contract. And I never stop interviewing until I start a job. Like, so I'm going to keep going to the other interviews that I already had lined up because I probably never cancelled them in the first place. And then I'm going to see if I can get an offer somewhere else. And that's happened before. I've accepted a job. They've not sent me the stuff I wanted. We've been going back and forth for a little while. And in that time, I already had interviewed somewhere else and I took an offer. When they finally sent me what I wanted, I was like, oh, after thinking about it, I no longer can accept the offer. I'm going to have to withdraw myself. Oh, but why? You took too long. I'm not going to say that to them because I need to be polite. I'm going to either make up a story. Yes, I will make up a story. I don't care. Or I'm going to dodge telling the truth. And you might be, oh, that's really dishonest, Adele. Listen, when you leave a crap company and go to a new company and they ask you to interview why you're leaving your old job, you don't start slagging off your old company. You fudge the truth. You go round the truth. Well, if you're smart, you go round the truth. Because otherwise, if you start slagging off your old company, you ain't getting that new job. So we all move the goalposts, just like these companies move the goalposts. They do not hesitate to lie to you. I promise you, companies do not hesitate to lie to you at interviews when you've got the job. How many companies are like, oh, we don't give more than 33 days annual leave. And then there's me in HR knowing that there's another person in your department that can 40 days. 40 days paid annual leave. But that person saying to you, oh, I had to take some emergency unpaid leave. It wasn't emergency unpaid leave. It was definitely paid. The only reason they had to say that was because they signed an NDA where they won't disclose it to you. So that companies do not hesitate to get everything they want out of you and to lie to you. So you shouldn't hesitate to give them exactly back the same energy in return. So yeah, there's some red flags. There are other red flags, but these are like key red flags that a lot of people that are just so happy to get a great offer with great money and are so desperate to leave their current job. Like you're sometimes so desperate to leave a crappy job that you jump into another crappy job. It's like having the rebound relationship. It's your rebound job because you were so desperate to leave where you were, you ignored all the red flags and you jumped straight in. But guess what? We all get the rebound job. It happens to the best of us. Just don't get stuck there. Just don't feel like because I left one bad place and I ended up in another bad place, it's me. Because it's not you. We've all done it. It happens. Doesn't mean you have to stay there. Doesn't mean you have to punish yourself because you're now saying, oh, it's my fault. I should have known better. No. Give yourself some grace. You messed up. Okay, you didn't see some of the red flags, or they were very good at hiding the red flag. Why can't that also be the case? Like I said right at the beginning, sometimes it's not you. Sometimes they are that good at hiding every single red flag until you get started. And a month in, you realize, oh my gosh, I made the wrong decision. This is the worst company ever. But at that point, it's a bit late because you're already there. Now all you can do is start looking for another job or accept the situation. But don't blame yourself if you leave one bad situation for another. It happens. Sometimes we're so desperate to get out of one, we will overlook all the red flags just to get the job in a new place. And I talk about that on the podcast episode, Desperate Energy Creates Desperate Results. So go back, it's an older episode, but go back and listen to it. Sometimes we all slip into that desperation, but give yourself grace. And also remember, if you made your bed, you do not have to lie in it because you can unmake it, get your ass up and leave the crappy job and go somewhere else. There will always be more jobs. Yes, the job market is hard at the moment, but there still will always be more jobs. People are still getting job offers. People are still making good money. Security is not a real thing right now because we all know there's a lot of redundancies, a lot of layoffs. There's a lot of problems in the job market right now. So you have to secure yourself and you have to secure your mental health and your physical health because burnout is real. So we have to look out for these red flags. But that's some red flags in the hiring process that I wanted to share. And that you guys keep asking me about all the time, like how do I leave one job and not end up in another crappy job? They're just some of the red flags. If you see them, I need you to run the other way. Oh, just a really quick red flag, and I know we touched on it a little bit while I was talking when I went off on a tangent. 8 or 10 interview process step for one company. Red flag. But anyway, hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I will speak to you in the next one.
I hope this episode gave you exactly what you needed and motivated you to confidently take steps towards your next career move. If you enjoyed it, screenshot and share it on your socials, tag me on Instagram, and come join my community of amazing women working on leveling up their confidence and careers. Thanks for listening and see you next time.